Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're here to talk about the crazy phenomenon called Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, if you've been anywhere near the manga or anime community and you've not been living under a rock, you know that the Jujutsu Kaisen manga took the internet by storm. So many influx of new people, and of course, the fact that season 2 was airing also helped. But man, people really logged in for the manga, and it's over. It's been over for quite a few months now, but like that certain period of time where, oh my god, everything was just Jujutsu Kaisen, like the anime was airing, the manga was ongoing, there was a chapter coming out each week. Arguably one of the most hype periods of time in recent memory for me, where everyone is just into it. You have the anime people enjoying what is arguably peak Jujutsu Kaisen. You have manga readers who are basically seething and coping every week. It was great, a great period of time, right? But now the manga's over, and it's been quite a while since it's over. The anime is done airing. And I thought, you know what? I've been reading the manga for a while. I actually started reading the manga as soon as the hidden inventory arc was over in the anime. And then they went on like a 2 or 3 week break, I believe, in order to start with, the Shibuya arc. And I was like, you know what? I want to read the manga. And I did. I've been reading the manga since then. Now, I don't really make anime reviews anymore because I honestly don't think I'm good at them. I just enjoy watching anime. But with mangas, I have a bit more of a grasp of what I like and what I don't like, right? So, everything I'm going to talk about in this video is from Shibuya arc. If you're expecting for me to talk about anything before that, I genuinely don't know because I just watched the anime for it, right? So, let's just go. I think the Shibuya arc is far and beyond the best arc of the manga. It is not even a competition. If you disagree, that's fine. I just think you'll have to come up with a very good explanation as to why you don't think Shibuya arc is the best, because it is 100% in terms of art, in terms of story, in terms of fights, in terms of paneling. Jujutsu Kaisen Shibuya arc has some of the best paneling I've seen. It's up there as one of the best experiences of manga reading I've had. It was so fun, it was so good, and it's honestly peak. And it's quite unfortunate what happened with the anime in season 2, where, the whole MAPPA situation where they couldn't animate most of it, and the animation really, took a toll because of the horrible working conditions. Hey, that's just Japan. I don't care. I'm talking about the manga here, and honestly, although I'm sad that the entirety of Shibuya was not able to get the adaptation I had dreamed of, I think it's completely fine. I think the manga is there for a reason. I think it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely incredible. And the fights in general, let's move on from Shibuya, right? I think Jujutsu Kaisen has some of the most hype fights ever. I think it's very, very good. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of those mangas where you're not really caring about the story as much as you're excited for the fights, right? It's a lot of the hype train stuff. So I do think the fights are, although sometimes they're between characters I don't really care about, but I do think they're like really good. I think Yuji is actually a good MC, although infamously he gets overshadowed for a long period of time in the manga. But I think his character arc and everything Yuji is, especially towards the end, I think Yuji's character, me personally, I really liked it. I think he's a good MC. At first I was like, he's just a basic MC, I don't really like him. But honestly, it's great. And him with his domain expansion and everything, I think Yuji is a very, very good character. I think he's deserving to be the main character of the manga. I think it's great, right? And I think Gojo vs. Sukuna is genuinely very, very entertaining. It's a great arc where they first start before, the whole Kit Kat thing happens. But I think it's great. I think it's very hype. I do think the strong points of the manga are really good, right? Now, the problem with the Jujutsu Kaisen manga as a whole is that it has so many flaws that I genuinely cannot think of a reason why I would want to go back and call it one of the best. It was considered one of the best new age mangas, and I want people who were claiming that to actually go back and read everything as a collective instead of just weekly releases and realize how bad the manga really gets. Because let me tell you, Shibuya is one of the best arcs I had read up until that point, right? Because I was just getting into mangas. And then you get into culling games, and I genuinely believe culling games is such a big fall off. It's not even funny. It's genuinely so terrible. And that's the thing, Culling Games is not a bad arc in itself. It's not like a bad arc which is meaningless. I think coming off Shibuya, because you have to keep in mind, immediately after Shibuya, you have the Maki arc, where the, Maki becomes the next Toji. That is also an incredible fucking arc. That's 2 for 2. That's great. And then the Culling Game arc just gets all these new characters you don't really give a shit about, and like all these new rules which you don't really get, and it's just a whole lot of bullshit. And it's just like, man, no problem, they'll clap back, because Culling Games genuinely killed the excitement for me, I'm not going to lie. And then we have the Gojo versus Sukuna, which honestly, Shinjuku Showdown, great arc. That whole fight is great. That whole twist and turns of that are great. The point where I think don't both of them suffer from like internal bleeding, so they just start throwing hands. Great stuff. And then Gojo dies, as infamously the Kit Kat panel, super detailed panel of Gojo dying. And I'm not going to lie. So, I was like, okay, it's not a very good manga. Clearly way overhyped and way overrated. But, it's still entertaining. It's still good. Its strong points are still there. I don't think until the last few chapters, okay, the set of chapters where after Gojo dies and just before the last, like, let's say 10 chapters, I think is genuinely one of the worst things I've ever read. I think the whole post Gojo angle of, oh, this next person's gonna fight Sukuna and then they get killed in one chapter. Oh no, this other person's gonna fight Sukuna. Nah, they get killed too. To the point where, and you realize how many unnecessary characters are there because they keep coming one by one and they keep dying, and you're just like, oh, cool. It's just a lot of bullshit. It feels very, very messy, very aimless. It feels like there was no set direction for it. Especially after Gojo died, it really felt like the mangaka was like, oh, well, fuck, I didn't plan for this. It's genuinely annoying. I think the actual end of Sukuna was also quite underwhelming. Although, again, I actually liked the ending. I don't really have a problem with the ending because the last 10 chapters were okay. They were not the best ending, but it was satisfactory. And that's what makes me feel like, okay, it wasn't one of those shitty endings. But yeah, a lot of irrelevant characters to the point where I barely even remember them. And let's not talk about the art degradation. Like, you look at the art, like, okay, even from the Gojo versus Sukuna point to like the last 10 chapters where somehow they take breaks and actually make it look good, right? The art is atrocious. It's just lines. It's just horrible art. And I feel like people defend the art like, oh, it's not that bad, and oh, it was on a weekly release. Yeah, all that is great. Look at the Shibuya arc. I feel like when you have an arc and a certain arc which belongs to the same manga, where the art is much better, where the story, the direction, the impact is much better, I feel like it's hard to justify why the other part, like post good arc, is bad. I feel like that's just, that doesn't make sense to me. The art deteriorates quite a lot until it eventually gets back up, but it's like too late at that point. And yeah, I just think the manga really just did not, in the end, it's over, right? And now that I really think about it, it really wasn't that great, like it was hype and it was fun because it was like a large internet community altogether. But like, I'm talking just in general when I want to think about a manga. I'm not thinking about, oh, Gojo versus Sukuna or Culling Games or whatever the fuck the last, oh, Sukuna versus irrelevant characters are. I'm thinking of Shibuya. When I think of Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm thinking of Yuji versus Chozo. I'm thinking about Mahoraga versus Sukuna. I'm thinking about, Gojo versus Sukuna to a certain extent, sure. But that's really it. I'm not thinking about anything else where in this manga I was like, oh, that was really good. And I think personally for me, that really killed the manga's excitement for me. If I had to give it a rating, I would say it's like a 5. The story wasn't very good to begin with, but what complemented the fact that the story wasn't very good was the fact that, hey, we're going to take regular cliche tropes, but we're going to make it super hype and exciting for you. Because, it's been rebranded and redone a million times, but let's make it fun. And then the fun aspect of it also kind of gets removed, and then you're just reading something which is brain dead. It's quite unfortunate, but what can you do? But anyway, that's all I had to say about Jujutsu Kaisen. Will always love the manga for what it represented when I was reading it. Will never want to go back to it because what it ended up becoming. But hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.